Hi, it's Crystal from Living Loop Hal. So we moved into our new house about 5 months ago, and I'm still working on putting together some of the finishing touches around the house and decorating it a little bit. So today I'm going to make some wooden signs for my bathroom that say relax, unwind, get naked. I'm going to be using my Cricut Explore Air that Matthew so wonderfully got me for my birthday, and I absolutely love it. So this is going to be my first vlog showing you how to use it and to make a wooden sign. So I have already got my wood. I've stained it in a cherry stain. This wood my dad found in his garage actually, and it works out perfect for what I need. And it actually used to be, you can see here, the old slats for my bed when I was a teenager. So we're reusing this wood today, which is kind of cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a stencil with the Cricut Air, and I'm going to use this Cricut stencil vinyl. And I like this a lot because once the stencil comes off, you can see that the lines are actually printed on the stencil. So it makes it really easy to place the insides of your letters and anything else that you need to place in there, and it really gives you a good guide to know if you're even or not. So I've already loaded up my Cricut sheet with the stencil. I know that I only need a small chunk, so I'm actually reusing just some scraps from a sign I made for a friend. So I'm going to cut it now. My mat is loaded with my stencil. So I'm just going to push cut, and then it's going to cut out the words. I believe this one is unwind and a heart. Okay, now that we've made our cuts, and let's see if you can see the cut on there. What we're going to do is we're going to take the letters out. So usually if you're using vinyl, you want to leave the letters on and then you'll put your transfer tape. But because we want this to be a stencil, we want to weed out the letters. So I just take this pointy tool here, it's my favorite one, and I just pull the letters out of the center. Now you want to be careful to leave the insides of any letters that have a circle. So for example, when I get down to the D, it has the middle of the D. We want to make sure we leave that on the paper because we are going to need that for our stencil. Okay, so that's the example where we're going to keep our middle of our D. And then I just have this last piece here. Okay, and then there is our stencil for the word unwind. Okay, so I have my stencil weeded out, and I'm going to be placing it onto my wood so that I can paint it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to peel the stencil off, and I'm going to make sure that I keep my middle on there so that I can have it when I'm ready. You have to be careful because the stencil will stick to itself if you don't hold it out right. Okay, so I'm going to take my stencil and line it up where I want it. And it's sort of in the middle. And you do have a minute to kind of play with it if it's not exactly where you want it. I'm going it right about here. And then I'm just going to lightly press it down and make sure I don't have any air bubbles. Okay, so once it's pressed down like this, then you're going to take a scraper tool and you're going to go over it. And I go pretty vigorously so that nothing comes up. So I push really hard. Okay, so now that I have my outline done, I want to put my middle back in my D. So here is my middle still on my paper. And you can see it has the lines on it where I want to line it up. Excuse my puppy there, right into the lines of the D here. So I'm going to take it. I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but I'm going to line it up as best I can. in there. Okay. And then for those, I'm going to take my paper and put it back over and just give it a really good push down. Perfect. So there's my stencil, and now we are ready to paint. So there's a few steps when painting. First, we're going to use Mod Podge, and then we're going to use your choice of paint. I really like to reuse what I have at home. So right now I have some extra of this ultra matte paint. It's a linen white in a chalk paint. So I'm going to just use the leftover of this that I have for these signs, and it actually does come out really nice on the sign. So you just take your Mod Podge, and I like to just always use a sponge. A lot of people use paintbrushes too. It's whatever your preference is. I like a sponge, and I just sponge it on the letters to start. And be careful not to get it off of your stencil, or you will have a nice shiny Mod Podgey part of your project. And then I like to just brush it in. I like to kind of go every which way just to make sure all the edges are done, so I can prevent as much bleeding as I can. So that's Mod Podged, and we're going to let that completely dry before we paint on it. Okay, so now we are ready to paint our sign. We've Mod Podged it and it's dried. I'm going to do the same thing I did with the Mod Podge. I'm going to just sponge it on. I like to do my second coat right away. And I like the look of lines in my paint when it's finished. I think it gives it a nice little kind of character look, but some people might not like that, so it's all personal preference on that. Okay, so now that it is painted, the paint is still very much wet. We're going to pick off the stencil. And you want to go slowly so that you don't pull up any of the paint. And also make sure that your stencil doesn't touch back onto your sign. And watch your fingers too, because it is very wet paint. You don't want to stick your finger in your paint. So just keep going really slow. Just because of the arrow, I'm going to pull from this corner as well a little bit. There we go. So I'm going to take the weeding tool again, and I'm just going to use it to get the insides of my letters out. My kit also came with a pair of tweezers. There they are. So, and these are like a reverse squeeze tweezer. So I'm going to use that as well to help get this up. I'm just going to be very careful just to find the edge here. And then I'm going to use my tweezers to pull it up. And the same with the A. And there we go, there's our sign finished. You just have to let it dry now, but it's perfect and it's ready to go in the bathroom. And there we have the finished product of our signs. Relax, unwind, get naked. Thanks for watching my first tutorial. I'd love to show you more stuff I like to do with my Cricut Air, so please subscribe to our channel, Living Lou Pal, where you'll see more of that, and also really fun videos of me hanging out with my husband and my girls. Thanks, bye.